Paddy People Television, today reporting to you from Key Visa Company. I'm here with the visa and immigration guru of Pattaya, Darren Mcgarry, who knows everything that is worth knowing about this subject. And today we're embarking into a very interesting one. It's about dependency visas. It means if you have a child and you need to have a visa for that child, obviously, then Darren will now tell you what are the ins and outs for that.
Thank you, Niels. I wish it was as good as you tell everybody I am. The problems that we're finding at the moment is there's a lot of guys here who are under 50 with not many options to stay, which is difficult for them when they've got a family here or they want to open a business or start to work. So one of the latest crazes at the moment is what we call the dependency visa. It's very similar to the marriage visa, but what it actually means is that you're allowed to stay in Thailand for the sole reason of taking care of your child. Now, for a lot of people who've got a new baby, that's good, because they're under 50, they can't get a retirement visa, and do I get a long stay visa? Now, what is the requirement? One of the major requirements for a dependency visa is that you have a financial criteria. Now, the financial criteria locally is that they like to see that you have 400,000 baht in a Thai bank and that money has been in the bank 3 months before you apply. Now, people say, I can't do that, it's a lot of money. If you want to stay here, you have to find it and get it deposited, okay? Now, there's no other way at the moment that we know of with income that is available, so it's only cash money in the bank in Thai baht, yeah? Now, the other criteria is that you are physically living in this area. Okay, if you want to do it in Chonburi, if you're living in a different area, you have to do it with your local immigration. Okay, and the main reason for that is because they want to identify exactly where you're living with the child. And part of the documentation, like a marriage visa, is that you have to take photos of you, your partner, and the child at the house. You have to get the house number on the photo, plus inside the house as well, and you have to provide them to immigration at the same time as you give your documents. You don't have to be married, so as long as your name's on the birth certificate, then you've got no problems with the visa. Okay, the immigration, you've got the money in the bank, the immigration won't say no. Now, in some cases, let's say you're here on a tourist visa, your wife's just had the child or your girlfriend, and you think, okay, I want to stay here, but how do I start the process? What am I going to do? If you've got the financial side in place, and that's deposited in the bank for 3 months already, you can actually change from a tourist to a non-immigrant within Thailand without leaving the country. Okay, that wasn't available before, it is now. What they do then, they ask you to wait 60 days of the 90 days. After 60 days, then you can put your application in for the child dependency visa. Once you've submitted your documentation to the immigration office, they will give you a stamp for 4 weeks, what they call an undue consideration period, and that's where they send your documents, a set of your documents, off to Bangkok, because really, in effect, it's Bangkok that make the final decision, okay? Bangkok make the decision, then they give the order to Chonburi to print the visa, and that's how it works. They will normally then give you 1 year. The great thing about it is that with that visa, as long as you've got the child, you can actually, you can keep staying, keep renewing the visa. It's not like a marriage visa where the rules are if you get divorced, you also lose your visa, because the visa's owned by the marriage. It's not owned by you. As long as you're married on a married visa, you can keep the visa. If you get divorced, you must have your visa cancelled. A lot of people don't realise that. Like a business visa is very similar. If you stop working, you can't just keep your visa because you don't own the visa. The company own it. If you don't work for them anymore, then you have to cancel it and move to something else. So a dependency visa, as long as you and the child are fine and you've got no problems with the mother, then that's great. Another thing is, again, if you have any problems with your Thai girlfriend, you've got arguments or whatever, and she can't just pull the mat from under you. She can't go to immigration and get the visa cancelled because you're still the father of the child. So it's a good visa. Plus, it's a good way as well if you want to work here, because you're allowed to get a work permit on that visa. Wow. Yeah, so it kills a lot of birds, which really, I mean, is very sensible, because if you're going to be living here at a fairly young age and you need to work and you're going to get employed or you're going to start your own company, you need a work permit and you need the right visa. And rather than having a business visa that's owned by them or owned by your own company, you might as well have your own individual visa, rather than letting the work permit control you. So I think, to be fair, for people under 50, it's one of the real good.
And that has been a problem for the ones who wanted to stay here. They didn't have the age.
It's always been a problem for many years in Thailand that they look at youngsters, we say youngsters, under 50, and their attitude is, what are you doing here? Why you're not in your own country? Working. They're working, so why are you not working? They don't realise now that this day and age people are, shall we say, working on the internet and things and stock markets and Bitcoin and all this, and they've made the money before, the ripe old age of 50. So they can come here. Some people can retire, but unfortunately they can't see that. So you've got to look at ways of trying to stay here. That's one. The marriage visa is the other, and as we know, the most popular visa in Thailand is the retirement visa, and that's for people 50 and above. So, but if you've got any questions or anything with regards to the dependency visa, you can always come in the office or send me an email. I can send you a list of the documents required for the immigration, so you can go forearmed and you have everything ready for them, rather than going down there and making mistakes when you're there. I ain't got no problem with that.
Okay, I have another message for you guys. You might not have heard all the segments here of this series of advisory interviews. I would suggest you to go to the website www.pattayarpeople.com. There's a section there for visa and immigration matters, and you'll find all the previous interviews, including this one, if you haven't heard all of it, if you come in the middle of the interview, or you want to hear it again because you didn't really get all the details. So take that into account. Go to the website for pattayarpeople.com and acquaint yourself. And Darren, I'd like to thank you very much for your good advice. And I also want to mention, if you want to meet this gentleman in person, you have two options. Either you come here to Key Visa Company, which is located near Big C, South Pattaya, or you come to the Pattaya Expats Club, because Darren is there on a regular basis. But I think it's a good idea maybe to call Key Visa Company first and make sure that that Darren is the place where you're going. And at last, thank you so much for helping so many people here in Pattaya with visa information.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Niels. And like I said, the Pattaya Expat Club is the place to go. It's the place where I'm not working. It's a place where I have more free time for the one-on-one. If people don't know about the Pattaya Expat Club, there's a meeting every Friday morning at the Mcgarry Hotel Soy 15. It's a great way to meet people here, get advice on not just visas, insurance, many different things. I started there 15 years ago, and we've been great supporters of the club, and I feel that's the way to go. If you want to stay safe and you don't want to lose money, then that's the place.